We're just 2 weeks from the 2024 NFL Combine in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Jeremy Green of ESPN Radio Asheville. We're affiliates of the Carolina Panthers, and we will be in Indiana live for every day of the Combine, doing ESPN radio shows, interviews, and all those things. So, if you didn't see our Bears mock draft, let me tell you what we're doing here. I'm using the PFF mock draft simulator. I'm doing a 4-round mock for every team. Carolina's a team that we know pretty well because we're affiliates of the team. So we know the roster really well. We know the team needs. We know the team needs for every team. But this is one that we know intimately well. And they don't have a first-round pick. So this might be the toughest one of the lot. So as you can see on the screen, I've got the draft board up. I've got the player board up. Let's click start on this. We'll see how the first round goes. Carolina has 33, 65, and 102. They dealt with Bryce Young last year. My ideal would be if a left tackle fell to me at 33. Looking at the board as it fell in here, that really didn't happen. I'm not going to reach. Carolina has so many needs that, yes, I would like to have a left tackle. I'm going to address that at some point in this mock. But at 33, there are several players that I am kind of shocked are here. One of them is Keon Coleman, the wide receiver from Florida State. There are issues that he had too many contested catches last year at Florida State. I'll be honest with you, I'm a lifelong Florida State fan. There is a signed Deion Sanders helmet on the shelf behind me. I know this team quite well. This is the fallback plan for me if a Jordan Morgan or Tyler Guyton or one of the left tackles doesn't fall to me, and I'm perfectly okay with that. That's why I'm not overly worried. Yes, it sucks that you don't have a first-round pick. It sucks that you gave up the number one pick. I still believe in Bryce Young. I don't think anybody could have succeeded last year. I still have Adam Thielen. I'm going to add Keon Coleman as my one. He's kind of what DJ Chark was supposed to be. He's big. He's fast. He's really good with the ball in his hand. He was the best punt returner in the ACC last year as well. And to me, that's an addition that's better than reaching. Troy Fautano, to me, is a guard to start off with. I think he can play tackle, but I'm not going to project that. I think it's too early for Zach Frazier out of West Virginia. So I'm going to take the highest-rated player left on my board, and that's Keon Coleman, wide receiver out of Florida State. We slide down to 65 here in the third round. As it moves, the board will move. J.J. McCarthy is somehow on the board at the beginning of the third round. That's not going to happen, but the board did fall in a way that I'm pretty fond of because there is a player that I got to see up close and personal in Mobile, Alabama, and I'll be honest with you, it should tell you something that as soon as I saw the name, I looked at others just to show you who was on the board, but I didn't have to think that hard about who I was going to take. It's Dominick Puni. He's listed as a tackle. I believe he's probably better off as a guard. He played guard at Kansas in 2022, played left tackle last year. Rating was much higher this year. He was phenomenal at the Senior Bowl. And I'm not sure where they would slot him in to start with. He's 6'5", 320. I think he can play tackle. Best fit may be guard off the jump. My goal is I'm trying to get Ike Ekwonu into guard. That's complimentary drafting to me because Ekwonu has been a guard to me. If you go back on this channel, I said it the year he was drafted. He's a guard, he's a guard, he's a guard. Well, as his career has unfurled in Carolina with 2 coaching staffs, he's been a guard, a guard, a guard. And they're trying to play him at left tackle. So if I have to start Puni on the left side and hope for the best, I could play him on the right. I could do a lot of things. I know Taylor Moton's over there. I'm going to try him on the left. Hope that works. If it doesn't, I'll move Ekwonu back to the left side. I'll play him at guard, and hopefully having this good of a talent on the inside will help him out. Dominick Puni there at 65 to the Carolina Panthers. We get down to 102. I'm going to level with you about needs for Carolina. They need a lot of things. They really need a tight end. I'm going to show you the board as it sits because there's no way that Ja'Tavion Sanders is on the board. For me, you have Brock Bowers in the first, Sanders in the second, and then there is such a drop-off. Theo Johnson was fine in Mobile. I didn't lose my mind over him. Cade Stover is not that big of an improvement. If it's me, I'm going to target Yaheem Bell later on in the draft, so tight end is not an option for me. I would consider doubling up at wide receiver. Aeneas Smith out of Texas A&M, he is insanely fast, but he is also insanely small. I just can't find myself doing that. I can't bring myself to do that. Now, I like Cedric Von Prawn. I like a lot of players. I have a problem in Carolina in that there's only one corner that I really like. And there is a player on the board, and for me, this is one of two guys. I can't double up on offensive linemen because there's just not a guy that I feel like is worth the selection here. You see Michael Hall Jr.'s name on the board, he ain't going to be there. I'm trying to keep this as realistic as humanly possible. So I'm down to Kalen King out of Penn State, a guy that I had in the top 20 going into the season, and things just got rough. The Marvin Harrison tape is terrible. His tape from the Senior Bowl is terrible, but there's still talent in there, and I know that. The question is, do I want to take the risk with the high upside, or do I want to do what I'm going to do, which is take Khyree Jackson, cornerback out of Oregon. This is a taller corner. He had a really good 2023, 6'3", 195. I think he's going to come in a little heavier than that just to prove that he can bulk up at the combine. I like the kid a lot. I think he has really high upside. I know that's not necessarily the biggest need, but you get into, well, when J.C. Horn's not on the field, this team is completely different. I would like him on the opposite side. I'm not a huge fan of Dante Jackson. I never have been. I'm not a huge fan of C.J. Henderson. I think you have a need on that opposite side. I like a lot of things that are happening in the front seven. I would like to have an edge rusher. It just didn't break down that way. I considered an edge rusher at 33. It didn't break down that way. So is this the ideal for me with Carolina? It's not ideal, but to me it's a solid stand-up double. I address the offensive line with Dominick Puni, a guy that I really like. I address wide receiver, Keon Coleman. In every other draft I've ever evaluated, he would have been a first-round pick. In this one, he slips to the second round. I happily took the value. And then I took Khyree Jackson, the corner out of Oregon. I think that gives you a little bit of safety with the injury risk and the injury history with J.C. Horn. We'll see what PFF graded it at. I'll slide it over here on the screen when it finally tells me what it graded it at. PFF runs a little slower than I like, but they do great work. Our guy Trevor Sikkema, who is a Panther guy. I see him at a lot of Panther events. And let me move this over. Got to click on the right button. They gave me an A for Keon Coleman. I get it. They gave me a C+ for Dominick Puni. I feel like that's a little low. I mean, I know it's not the ideal fit because it's not a lock and load left tackle. The problem is that there's not one of them there. Patrick Pohl was gone. They were all gone. I feel like that's a high upside play. Khyree Jackson, they don't think that's as big a need as I do, and that's why that grade's so low. Overall, this is a B- for the Carolina Panthers, according to PFF. But in the comments, let me know what you think. Did you like this mock? Did you not like this mock? Do you just want to call me a big mulleted idiot? Chuck those in the comments. I answer all those questions myself. And the next Panther mock, I will answer some of the comments in a video to those. We'll be doing another set of mock drafts after the combine. I may slide another one that's an A+ mock of what you should want going into the 2024 combine. If I can do that before we leave, I will. I think this would be a solid stand-up double for Carolina. New coach, new head coach, new GM, and Dan Morgan. I like this. I know not everybody's going to. Leave those comments in there. And subscribe to the channel to see everything we do through the Draftmas season. For us, it's a holiday. It's a draft. It's Christmas. It's Draftmas. Subscribe to the channel so you can see all of those things, including live from Indianapolis, Indiana with the 2024 NFL Combine. And you see it all here in the Sportsocracy.